Again, I just want to reiterate that we have a submit your questions, which was emailed out to everybody on the webinar. So if you have questions, please submit them in here and we're going to answer them at the end. Okay. Okay, so today we're going to be covering Flashpanel, managing and securing your Google Apps domain with Flashpanel. It's going to be with myself and also Eli from Better Cloud, and Better Cloud are the company that own and run Flashpanel. So our agenda is an update on Damson Cloud, why we are partnering with Better Cloud, and then a little bit about Better Cloud, who are obviously the company behind the #1 tool for administrators for Google Apps. Eli's then going to give us an introduction to Flashpanel. We're going to have a demo of Flashpanel, managing and securing your Google Apps domain with Flashpanel. Then we're going to talk a little bit about the different editions of Flashpanel. So as many of you know, there's a free edition, there's a partner edition, and there's an enterprise edition. And there has been, a little bit of confusion from our customers around that. So we really want to lay that out for people so that people are aware what the differences are. And then, as I said, we're going to have the Q&A at the end. Okay, so firstly, I'm just going to do a little bit of an update on Damson Cloud, where we are at the moment, in terms of our business and how things have changed for us over the last couple of years. We're now a pure play Google Apps consultancy. So what that means is that we only focus on the Google ecosystem. And many of you who've worked with us recently will be aware of this, that we are 100% focused on Google Apps. We have over 150 Google Apps projects under our belt to date, and we support over 25,000 users globally. And we're able to do that really because we're a zero infrastructure business, because we literally outsource all of that infrastructure to Google. And as many of you know, our dozen or so staff, most of them work from home or remotely across Ireland, the UK, and also we have an offshore development team in India. What we've sort of seen in terms of the Google Apps deployment is quite interesting. So a lot of you will be using the mail and calendar. Some of you we find from our customer base then move on to things like collaborations such as Google Drive and Google Sites and Vault. Many of you are using Chrome and Android devices and now the Chromebooks. And then we sort of see this sort of phase 2 and phase 3 where people move on to Google Sites for collaboration, and things like Google Plus, Google Hangouts, video conferencing, and over time expand their use of the Google platform. And many of you have also come to us to help leverage some of the additional tools in Google around collaboration on Google Sites, building full intranet solutions, building web applications on things like Google App Engine, and also things like workflow management to increase efficiency and automation within your organization. What all this really boils down to, we find, is that what you're essentially trying to do is extend the capabilities of the platform that you're already using. And so at Damson, that's really what we work hard to do, is to help our customers extend what they're trying to do with the Google platform and essentially leverage the most out of it. So with that in mind, partnering with Better Cloud to bring our customers Flashpanel really makes sense, because managing the Google platform as you start to use more of the tool and more of the platform obviously has its challenges. And this is really where Flashpanel comes in. And as I mentioned earlier, Flashpanel is the world's #1 administrative app for Google Apps. Many of our customers have been telling us how amazing it is and how fantastic it is. But also a lot of our customers actually aren't using it yet. And so we wanted to hopefully change that by letting the customers out there that don't know about the product know some of the benefits of it. So without further delay, I'm going to pass on to Eli, who's going to bring us through some of the features of Flashpanel and a short demo of Flashpanel. And then I'm just going to reiterate again that we do have this submit your questions here. And I have put this in the chat for everybody. So I'm going to hand over to Eli now, who's going to take us through a some of the features of Flashpanel. Eli, are you on the line yet?
Hi everybody, can you hear me?
You're a little bit faint for me. I'm just going to hand over presenting to yourself.
Alrighty. If you can't hear me right now, I hope that you can put in something into the chat here. But I will show my screen. And once again, Finton, thank you for the opportunity to speak with your customers, and then hopefully the majority of you can get something out of this, and hopefully better manage and secure your Google Apps domain. So I'm going to take the webcam off so you can see my screen a little bit better. I'm calling in from New York. It's the morning here. Alrighty. So, Finton, is everyone able to see my screen? I've got my presentation up here.
Yeah, looks great.
Okay, great. So we left off on extensibility and also the introduction to myself. So I'll do a little more about myself. I'm the Director of Customer Enablement here at BetterCloud. Our flagship product is Flashpanel. We've been offering Flashpanel in the marketplace for 15 months now. We've had an overwhelming adoption to the product. In this short time, we've had 22,000 unique individual organizations install the application, many of which are Damson Cloud customers. So if you're one of those people on the call, thanks for being here. If you're not, we hope that you will install Flashpanel, of course, free of charge. We give you a trial, and hopefully it becomes very apparent the benefits. So I'll be talking exactly about that, what the benefits are. But first, a little bit about Flashpanel as a whole. So it's a tool that offers comprehensive management and security and automation. So a good way to think about Flashpanel anywhere in the world to use. So you're thinking, if Flashpanel can build it, why can't Google or another person? Well, the truth is they can, but we have a couple things going for us. That includes the fact that we have a team now of 25 full-time developers here in the U.S. that are working on building and enhancing the platform. So what we were able to accomplish in the last 14 months, we should be able to double in the next 6 or 7. So we're really hitting our stride, and we've done quite a bit of hiring to do so. In fact, we recently closed our Series B funding of $6 million. So a lot of that money is going, majority is going towards our developers, as we are a pure software company, not a consultant. Also, we've built, very similar to Damson Cloud, is we've leveraged the Google platform. Google Apps, of course, Google Compute Engine, Google App Engine. We are now, working with all of these to make our product run even faster and quicker and do everything better. So there's been a couple questions around the additions, and just to start off, our relationship with Damson Cloud has been great since the start. There is a basic free version available to anybody in the world, free of charge, but also just for the Damson Cloud customers, instead of that free edition, you'll be giving the partner edition, which again is still free, but we've worked out a deal with Damson Cloud, so they've been able to provide this to you. So I'll explain the difference between that and the paid version, which we're calling Enterprise. The list price of Enterprise is $10 per user per year. If you're working, any nonprofits or educational institutions, there is a discount, so let us know if you are one of those. But I'll try and explain. People say, what's in the partner, what's in the enterprise? In fact, you will always get the partner version if you choose not to purchase. So please know we'd still love you to use the product, even if you don't. So the first column, really, directory management. In the partner edition, this is one at a time, manual. If you have 10 customers or 10 users on your domain, you can probably use the partner edition very, very easily. If you're 50, I would say I'm not quite sure. If you're bigger than 50, I'd say Enterprise is probably right for you. But there are a couple of things in Partner Edition, that could be fine for everybody. So I don't want to push you in one way or the other. I just would like to state the facts. So shared contacts, you get, kind of all or nothing, being able to push all the contacts out. In Enterprise, you get to do it shared contacts by group or OU, actually different groups of shared contacts for different groups of people. In the Google Apps realm, Drive, Sites, Calendar, Google+, third-party applications, you get a view only in the Partner Edition. But in Enterprise, you can do full read, write, bulk editing, set policies. It's really quite amazing. Policy setting and automation is not available. Everything that happens in the Partner Edition is a one-time as you click it. But in the Enterprise, you do get to schedule and automate processes. Also, canned reports versus custom reporting, and super admins versus delegated admins, which means that you can actually create roles and privileges just like you do in the control panel. So the Partner Edition, just to recap here, is best if you're just getting started with Google Apps, basic management security needs, and you're maybe perhaps not using Google Drive or Sites. But if you're just looking for a better alternative to the admin panel, go ahead and install it, and you can use it free of charge. The Flashpanel Enterprise Edition is great for enterprise organizations, smaller organizations that are leveraging Drive. If you have heavy security and compliance needs, if you benefit from managing users, groups, and Drive assets in bulk, the need to create different delegations to different users, and also if you need granular reporting across the domain. So first we're going to talk about administration. This is one of the key components that is Flashpanel and hopefully your job, which is managing all of the users and groups, things like that. So to provision a user, you can do so in the admin panel, of course, and many of the things I'll show you today you can do in the control panel, but it's a lot bulkier, or we've added functionality here that is unique, which makes the process better. So here you can provision two ways, a guided format or in bulk, the ability to create multiple at one time. So even if you are migrating to Google Apps, this could be a nice way to do so in bulk. Many people install Flashpanel just for the ability to apply email signatures to their entire user base. If you have 50,000 users on your domain, you can use Flashpanel to push out and enforce all of the signatures for every single user on the domain, and it's a simple three-step process. In step one, you set up your signature. You can see that there are basically mail merge fields, first name, last name, work phone. This will get pulled from your Google directory. You can also choose who it will apply to, a single user, a group, an OU, or you can plus all right here, get everybody all at one time. Finally, you can see that you can apply, you can schedule or apply now and schedule, and you can actually put this on a weekly or daily basis to override whatever changes the user has made. Just a step back here as a reminder, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them in the form that Finton has sent out. Also at the end, we can open it up to Q&A, any that came in through GoToWebinar or through the form. We'll talk about all those questions. So feel free to ask those questions. One thing that always surprised me about Google Apps was there was no password policy. You could not set a password for a user to be a specific password, or even set it to recur on a 3-month or 6-month basis. So with Flashpanel Enterprise, you can use that to create a compliance for perhaps your security team. The Apps Butler, this is our CEO David's favorite tool. This allows you to basically query a whole bunch of information, including user, group information. So you can type in a group name, and it will result in all of the different users that are a part of that group. This lives right in your chat window. This is not currently working with Google Hangouts, but if you're using the old chat, you certainly can use this. We're probably going to build a Chrome extension to replace this shortly as Hangouts pulled a fast one on us. Editing users in bulk. This is just amazing if you're managing more than 25 users. The fact that you can manage all 25 at one time, update a work address, update a phone number, department. It's really quite amazing, and it's easily done so with the spreadsheet. Also, deprovisioning a user. We worked with a 5,500 user company to come up with the best practices she and I got together along with our product manager and CTO and said, what are your needs when it comes time to terminate an employee? What do you need to do? Where do you click in the admin panel? Why don't we bring those all to a single workflow? And you can see from left to right, you can manage and change all of those different settings all at one time in one place. Pretty helpful. Then creating a group. You can create groups one at a time or in bulk. And you can see that you can actually get to many of the group settings all from this first page. So you would set up the group, select owners, and then finally apply these owners to the different groups. And you can also manage these group settings in bulk. Something to note. Also, managing group membership is much easier than in the groups interface within Google. It's a simple picker, U plus and minus here, and it's very easy to add groups to a user or users to a group, either way. So the next section here is collaboration, visibility, and security. And this will be talking about a lot about Drive and Calendar, along with the ability to monitor what's happening with your documents. So here we are in the calendar view. You can actually filter by primary or secondary calendars, and you can see every single calendar owned, whether it be primary or secondary from your employees. And from here, you can add a user or group to be shared on it. You can hide the details, add the details, and make someone a full control owner, or even move the calendar to a private setting. So to view Google Docs, you can come in here to the dashboard for Google Docs, and you can see how things are being shared, whether it be public or public with a link, external, domain, or domain with a link. And you can see that you can filter up here. Exposure level is external, and this is all the documents that have been shared specifically with the user outside the domain. You can also click into that individual document and change it so that each sharing policy is changed just a little bit. And speaking of policies, you can actually set a policy on a particular user, an organizational unit, or everybody on the domain. And you can allow or disallow someone to share a certain way, and it will proactively, as Flashpanel runs each day, it will bring that document back to compliance. So this is what I like to call the proactive approach rather than the reactive approach. So the next gear here is insights and reporting, and I know I've spoken with hundreds of administrators. Everybody loves to find out what's happening on their domain, whether it be reporting or usage. So from here, this is just the dashboard of the homepage. You can see a lot of information, a quick snapshot of everything happening on your domain. You can also build your own reports after you've looked at your pre-configured report. So these are all suggested reports of things that you might want to know what is happening on your domain. And of course, you can build the custom reports. You would simply drag from the bottom left into here, and it's very easy to do so. It'll export to Google Spreadsheet, which is great. So now I'm just going to click into Flashpanel so that you have an idea of what it looks like, how to get there. And I can go over one item that I failed to mention, which was the access control. And that's the ability to create roles and privileges. So here we are. You can see we've got Enterprise showing below, letting us know that we're on the Enterprise version. And from here, again, we can see the dashboard. We can see the number of licenses that are active versus suspended. Looks like we've used all of our licenses, so unused. We can also look at the directory. I mentioned that the directory includes a user profile. This is a pretty amazing dashboard for your user profiles. You can see what groups they're a part of. You can add them to a group. You can also remove them from a group if you like. You can also edit their contact information. You can manage their account, suspend them, see when they were last logged in. And you can also reset their password here on the left. Profile, OU, deprovision, delete, lots of things that you can do. Google Apps, this is the section we talked about with Drive and Sites and Calendars. Soon you'll see Google Plus and third-party applications at the bottom here. Here's where you can find your reports, whether it be canned, the report builder, or the tools with the user tools. This includes the ability to deprovision your users, and here's the password policy. For all the email tools, they're put together here with signatures. You can manage email delegation, email monitoring, labels, filters. You can really get to everything you need to. You saw me hover over here before. This will allow me to go into my end user view, which allows end users to update their own profile if you allow it. Also, you can go into any of these different access controls, which I'll show you how to make. So you go into the access control, and we'll create a new one. Let's say we'd like to create someone who is a document compliance officer. Let's just go off here, and we'll go continue. From here, we can choose who this person will be. In fact, let's add ourselves. In step 3, you decide if you want it to be on a restricted by OU or domain-wide access. And from here, if you click this person is essentially a super administrator for Flashpanel, but not for Google. So you can decide what you'd like this person to do, manage the users, manage the groups, or we just want this person to manage Drive. So we'll let them do all the things they want to do here just to view. Sorry about that. So if you just want your users to view the users, you can get view-only rights, and they can manage everything you want to do in Google Drive. So we would continue here. One more save and apply. And we have now been created as the Docs compliance officer. And here it is right away for me to go into. So we can go into this access control, and you can see that there are very limited options here. Just the ability to view users, just Drive, and just the sharing policies. So it's pretty amazing to be given just some of the functionality, but not all of it here. And this is a great way to delegate responsibility to other admins that perhaps are not super administrators. I just wanted to mention also that we do have a full help center that we've been working very hard on. In fact, we have, I personally created the support center, and now someone else is managing, but this was a big project we put together over the summer with the help of Zendesk, if you're familiar with them. We will, you can look in here and search for an item. You can see what it's like to upgrade to Enterprise, and as always, whether or not you purchase Flashpanel, even if you use the Partner Edition, we will support you free of charge. So you have the ability to ask us a question, you can submit a problem, you can get in touch with us any way that's possible. So we are committed also to providing support for our existing subscriber base. So with that, I'd love to move over into questions. Fintan, perhaps you can read a couple questions.
Yeah.
Maybe there were some questions for you that you'll answer yourself, and if not, maybe some questions about Flashpanel that I'd be happy to answer.
Yeah, it sounds good. Do you want to share the cameras again so people can see us? Hi, guys. So we've had a whole bunch of questions come in here, and again, if people want, feel free to share your questions in the Q&A in the chat on GoToWebinar or on the forum, whichever you feel more comfortable with. So yeah, I'll just run through a couple of these. I'm going to read them out so that other people obviously know what we're talking about. So Les Smart from UBS is on, and he said, you just said about password policies. On the screen I saw options for enforcing passwords. Do you also have anything to force users to use strong passwords? Do you want to take that one, Elon?
Yeah, good question. So I can show you where that is again for everybody else as well. So you go User Tools, Reset Passwords. So from here, you can reset someone's password or create a password policy. From here, you can generate a password, or you can create just a temporary one, and then require the password change on the next sign-in. We can only handle the request that a user changes their password and the actual password change. When it comes time for them to require the password change and they create their own, That is Google's authentication and their standard. So I believe that they have their own. I think it's a eight. I think it's a minimum of 8. I know that in the admin panel it's changed recently, but perhaps we can find it again.
Okay.
Um,
Sorry, you finished?
well, I think unfortunately Google doesn't have actually that great of control over the different password types. Although I've never heard of anybody having an issue. In fact, if you do have an issue, you can always turn on two-factor authentication,
Yeah,
and
that's
that
what we have, and
allows.
that's probably the best. If you're really concerned about password protection, two-factor authentication is probably the best. So, what that is when I log in on a computer, I have it set up on my own. If I log in on a computer that's not my own, Google will randomly generate a series of numbers and send it to my mobile device. So it's two-factor authentication in the same way as when you log into your mobile banking. You have one of those little code things. So definitely a good
And you
idea.
can find that right here in the admin panel under security when you click onto an individual user right here.
I'm not seeing your screen change for me. I don't know if anybody else is. It's
Oh,
just
sorry about that. Yep, you should be able to see mine now. So
okay.
we're here in the admin panel, the users, Albert Einstein, security, and then it looks like this user hasn't logged in before, so it's not showing the strength. But you can actually manage the strength of the password, and you can actually turn on the different ones here.
Do you want to just maybe go back and show the previous thing from Les's question on enforcing password changes? Because obviously we couldn't see your screen. So
Sure. So here's an example. I'll show that next. Here's an example of the strength rating, and then from here it looks like you can learn a little bit more. You can also enable or disable the two-factor authentication, and then the passwords could be found here. User tools, reset password, and then you can choose the reset password one time or on a policy, and you can do that from here.
so with the policy one, Eli, you can actually set it so that what every 6 months people have to change their passwords, or is that what that means?
That That's exactly right. If you'd like to add all the users in step 2 and in step 3, you can hit schedule and apply and make this every 3 months or 6 months or a year if you like.
Cool. That's great. If anyone was unsure about whether Eli was in New York, we definitely know he is now, thanks to the sirens in the background.
We're 1 block from a fire station, so we get
It's
this
the
all
New
day.
York sound. It's okay. It's fine. I'm loving it. A nice follow up question to that from Beach Horn from Banham is asking, can we enforce two factor authentication using Flashpanel? So is that possible to do within Flashpanel, or is that something that you need to do within the Google Apps Control Panel?
I don't believe that is offered through the current API. So unfortunately, while the good thing about the APIs are Google will put out the APIs before they do in the admin panel or the control panel. So we have the ability to use them probably for a good year or two before. In fact, we're a part of a trusted tester program with Google, so they give it to us even earlier to test with on our own testing instance. However, I don't think this is a part of the current API, but when it is, we would love to add it in. Good question, though.
Okay. We have a follow-up question from it's on a different topic from Sun, but who's also from the same company, Banham. How do you access a user's inbox and view their inbox as well as their Google Drive? So that would be like the delegation or monitoring tools. If you
Yeah, let's start with Drive first, actually.
okay.
The ability to view users' Google Drive. It's actually easier to view users' documents and their email. However, you can do both. As a super administrator, you can view any document on the entire domain, whether or not it's shared with you, and I'll show you how you can do that. You can filter by owned by a user, so that's a good place to start. Let's look for Albert here. Yeah. So we can click into his top secret document, and I hope that this one works. Maybe it was deleted, but you should be able to click edit, and it'll take you right to the actual document. So of course this is blank. This was just for show, but in fact you can see if you click live sharing settings, it says Albert Einstein, but over here now, since I have added myself as a collaborator, I can now view that document. However, if you like, you can always click that little red X, save, and you will no longer be sharing that document, and that user will not know that you were in there unless they happen to be in that document and see your little picture pop up. To kind of save face a little bit, we've created an audit history for all the administrators so that all that power doesn't go to your head, and
Yeah,
there
that
is
was going to
a
be
trail
my
of all the
follow
users.
up question, because that's one of the things that we always get asked by customers. Well, if obviously administrators need the ability to do these things sometimes, but there needs to be an audit trail, so that's good.
This is the audit trail just for the documents. We also have a full audit on every single item and every single click in the application. This is here, and it also appears in the admin, in the control panel as well. It actually shows in both places. So even if you want to install Flashpanel, it'll still stay in the control panel, which is a good backup. So that's for the documents. You can view all of those documents, anything you like, but for the email, there are two options. In email tools, you can create an email delegation, and the difference of doing it here rather than allowing the user to give it to you is that you can actually create a delegation pairing, one user and then the other, and that will automatically allow you in there. There's no approval process. The one thing is, though, is that if you are being delegated, that user can always go into their Gmail settings and see who is delegated to their, I think it shows up here. Yeah, grant access to your account. So they will see you here, and they can always delete you. But the thing is, it would be very rare that someone would be looking at this exact screen as you did that, and you can always remove those delegation pairings very, very easily. There's also another way to get email. However, it's not a retroactive procedure. You can go into monitoring and create a monitor. So what this does is every time the user sends or receives email, a BCC will go into your inbox. So this has absolutely no record, and you can put that on there. Let's say the next week or two you are thinking of terminating a user, and you think that they may be sending inappropriate emails. You can turn this on, have it go to an inbox reserved for this purpose, and you will have a record of it at all times. So those are three ways that you can manage the drive and the email of your users.
Great. As a follow-up question to that, if there is two-step authentication, this is from the same person, will admin still have access to the inbox of their inbox and their Google Drive? So does two-step verification have an influence over what Flashpanel can do, I suppose?
The answer is no. The two-step process is simply for the user, him or herself, to log in. But as an administrator, it does not matter whether the user has two-step on or off.
Okay. Next question is from Nick from the British Judo Association. Nick has said, is it possible to use Flashpanel and the Google Apps admin panel at the same time?
Absolutely. In fact, I'll explain how it works. Basically, if you make any changes here to the directory, anything in Google Apps, reports, tools, anything at all, it will be instant and appear in your Google control panel, Gmail settings, group settings, everything there. However, the other way is not true. This is called the provisioning API that's enabled in your control panel. If you create a new user in the Google control panel, he or she will not show up in Flashpanel until you've synced your domain, and that currently happens more for the enterprise customers, or it will in about 2 hours. Everybody's 30-day trial is about to end, so it'll be a busy day here in 2 hours. But you can manage the sync scheduler. Right now, you can actually sync up to 5 times, but this will change to 7 times for enterprise, and I think it'll be once for the free or excuse me, the partner edition. However, you do have the ability to click this button here, and you can actually sync your data, directory, drive, site, calendar, and you can sync it there. So you do have the ability to push that information from Google to Flashpanel. And I'll tell you that we are working, along with working with Google actually, to provide a change feed. So rather than having to sync this information once a day, we hope that in a matter of 6 to 9 to 12 months, we really believe that if a user is created in the admin panel, it'll notify Flashpanel and automatically change that one user rather than retrieving all 1,000 users. So that's what we're going to call kind of the change feed. So, in some time this will be an even better process, but right now it works, just fine.
Okay, great. Next question we have is from Beach again, who's from Banham. How does this operate on a multi-domain scenario? For example, can we set Flashpanel administrators for certain domains but not others? Are there issues with mass imports where users may be set up for one domain and not on the other? Does that make sense, or do you want me to read that again?
Okay. I think I got most of it. I think it was a three-part question, but to
Yeah, it
answer
was.
the first
If you
one,
want to answer the first one, and then I can reread the others.
okay, I'll see how I do. So to start off, Flashpanel is multi-domain functional. You need at least one user in that subdomain for it to appear in Flashpanel. That's just something with the way the API works, a little quirky. But you can look in and see these users are all on the subdomain, so you can filter by them and manage the subdomains. And I think the second and third question were more around the access control of with these users, what is it exactly that you can do with the mass import and also the access control. So let's first talk about the access control. So currently you can create an access control, so access by OU. So you can actually change the access control by subdomain. However, you can move all of the users in your subdomain into one organizational unit to achieve what you want to do, which I believe is if you have, let's say, two divisions of a company, Division A and Division B, you'd only like a user from Division A to view the documents of Division A and not the admin of A to view the documents of B. And that is possible when you restrict it by organizational unit. So if you were to copy your subdomain to an OU, you can then add that OU here, and that one user will only have access to that one part of the piece there. So I think that answered 1 and 3, and then I'll go to 2 now, and then if there's a follow-up question, I'll be happy to answer. So in users, you can create users, and again, you can do it a guided tour or in bulk. And bulk will give you a spreadsheet, so we can actually use a sample user to see what we'd like that. And let's use the guru. Okay, so we'll use this profile as a template. What you see is happening here is we're cloning a spreadsheet and we're adding in the user data just for Google Guru. So this is the template. If you want to create new users, you would put new over here, and you can find that out by coming into the more information over here. So this would be user A at guruvideos.com, and you can create first, last. You can put in a new password. If you want to require a password change on the next sign-in, you can click yes. Again, all these instructions are up here. So you can actually choose the primary domain or the subdomain. Either way, you get to provision your users any way that you like. And you can also add them to groups. You can remove them from groups. You can add them to an OU. And this is possible for both primary domains and subdomains. And you can see it would be very easy to just mimic this data across the board for multiple users and make a few changes. When you're finished with that, you can find the spreadsheet over here, take a look at it, and then do a quick upload. So I hope that answered. I did 1, 3, and then 2. But if you have any follow-up questions, feel free to ask them now,
I'm just gonna unmute Beach for a moment and just make sure, because it was a complex question. Beach, can you hear us? Maybe you don't have a microphone on your computer. I've unmuted you if you wanna if you do have any follow-up questions. No, okay. You can always put them in the chat if you want. Okay, let's move on to the next one. So we have one here from Ian Baxter. He's just unsure about how the licensing works So I actually have the answer to his question because Eliza's put it in there for us. But I think it's an interesting one for other people as well. So we have 200 users on our Google Apps. However, when I click Upgrade to Enterprise, it only picks up 167 users. How is the licensing managed on Flashpanel if we add or remove users? So Eliza's just said there that it looks like they have 200 available licenses, but only 167 in use. And a bit of fluctuation is fine, and the licensing costs will be caught up with the following year. So maybe you could just talk about the licensing. Do people pay, like, for example, our customers are used to when they want additional licenses on Google Apps, they contact our support team and we add 5 additional licenses or 10 additional licenses, whatever they're looking for. So maybe we could just talk about how that
Sure.
works on FlashPanel.
So first off, if you are looking for pricing information, there's actually another URL, flashpanel.com/partner-edition. This will let you know the differences between the basic, enterprise, and partner. So actually the multi-domain functionality is not a part of the basic, it's a part of the partner. So for anyone with the multi-domains who do not want to upgrade to enterprise, that's a good feature you're getting with the partner edition. So to explain also, the number of users. So let's say you're a 150-person user domain, you have 200 available license, and let's say you add 25 more users, so then you have 175 out of 200. In general, as long as it doesn't fluctuate, unless you probably acquire another company or double in size, I don't think you'll hear from us. At the beginning of the next year, in 12 months from now, if you were 150 and then now you're 175, you'll now be paying for 175 users. So if you add a few or drop a few, you won't hear from us pretty much.
Okay, that's a good way to look
But
at it.
the
So there's probably about a 10-20% sort of variable there that people are kind of allowed go up and down, and that's no problem.
even if you go from 5 to 10, that's 100% change, but it's a
Oh
small
yeah,
number,
true.
so we'll probably you probably won't hear from us. If it's 5,000 to 10,000, you can probably hear from us.
You can
But
expect a
to be
phone
honest,
call.
yeah, that's a big change. But we'd like to give you the benefit of the doubt, and we hope that your company grows, which is good for you and good for us. So we'll try and be as fair as we can.
Okay, great. Um, when a user, this is from Les Smart from UBS as well. When a user leaves rather than just removing them, you will usually want to preserve the history, e.g., mail and drive. Do you have tools to help with this? As an example, maybe pass ownership of docs to someone else.
Absolutely. So as part of the deprovision workflow, this is probably one of the most important. So with the deprovision workflow, again, we talked about the best practices for removing or terminating a user. So let's say it comes time, unfortunately, Albert has got to go. We'll deprovision him, and you can see these best practices. We can choose to hide him in the directory. We can reset his password, which is very important. You can set up an auto reply or an email delegation for him. And then here is the very important part. You can actually transfer the document ownership to another user. So it looks like the guru is going to take over for him. He needs all of his documents. You can transfer this document ownership and even transfer sites and calendars as well to the user. So, I mean, everything you need is here.
Right. Um, And then we're near the end of the questions now, although a few more are still popping in. Beach from Banham again has said, thanks, you've answered all my questions regarding domains. So you did well on that one, Eli. Well done. Um, yeah, and Anthony from IMOPC said, sorry, you missed the start. Can you just go over the different versions again, and particularly to clarify the pricing per user? So actually, you had a slide earlier on from the deck where you guys had the dollar pricing, and I just put in the sterling and euro pricing. So that one would probably be beneficial for people to see.
Where is it?
We'll share this deck, or I'll share this deck out with everybody afterwards. So don't worry
There
if
it is.
we did miss something. Yeah, so you can see down there, everybody, it's $10. I've converted sort of at today's prices, £6 50 and €7 50 per user per year. So obviously the pricing's in dollars.
And Finton, yeah, if there are any questions about pricing, obviously we can, be in contact.
Correct.
There was actually, I think there may be some more questions, but there were actually 3 more slides that might be of interest to everybody. Would you like to finish the questions, or should I go into those?
Well, people are still popping in questions, so if you want to move on, and then we can come back to them.
Okay, this will be a nice change here. So I'm just showing everybody a little history of our application along with where we're going as well, which might be interesting to you. So we launched in July 2012, and we had users, groups, OUs, shared contacts, email settings. Now, basically today, we've added in Google Drive, Google Sites, Google Calendar, and we've also added, wider and also deeper. So we've gone into reporting for everything and the bulk editing. But over the next couple of months, in fact, in the next 4 to 5 weeks, we'll be adding in Google Plus functionality, the ability to view all public posts and sharing. You can also manage Chrome and devices, being able to wipe devices. And then, of course, the third-party apps auditing, which is a pretty important thing to know which of your users have installed a Chrome extension that asks for their username or their email address or manages their browsing history, or that applies to Chrome extension, Google Apps Marketplace extensions, iPhone apps, and also Android Play apps. So you get a lot of information from your users, and you can find out really what companies out there are accessing your company data.
Right. I think that's fantastic to sort of see where you guys are going as well, with the tool. Okay. We have a couple of more questions. Will I fire ahead with these again?
Sure.
So we have just a quick one from Ian Yates, from BTO. Is deprovisioning an enterprise feature?
That is part of the enterprise features. Anything that you might consider a time saver or a workflow is part of the enterprise feature set.
And we actually had a couple of customers ask this: is it possible to purchase Flashpanel Enterprise directly through Damson, so the licensing, management, and billing is centralized? I can answer that one. The answer is yes. That is the idea. We're resellers of Flashpanel and many other tools, and the idea is obviously that you guys have a single vendor to manage all of your licensing and all of your Google Apps tools. So that's exactly the point. We have a couple of questions here from Banham again. So I'm just going to divide these up because there's 2 or 3 in the same one. So it's from Son from Banham. How to exclude certain users, such as directors, admins, from admin control access to their account. So I think, Son, you can pop in the chat here if I'm wrong. I think what Son is saying is it possible to not allow admins control over certain accounts? And his follow-up question is, will directors account be informed if their account has been accessed by an admin, such as inbox delegation or document delegation? So I think that's sort of protection of company data and things like that.
Good question. So if a user is a super admin in the eyes of Google, they have access to everything. You cannot restrict that person. We did play with the idea of maybe an account owner and then other admins. But basically, if you're a super admin with Google, you can do most of this stuff in Google Control Panel as well. So if you're a super admin for Control Panel, it's actually more information because the super admin can actually delete Google Apps or revoke it or send it back to Google. So, if you're a super admin, you can do everything in Flashpanel. But to get around perhaps you can remove super admin privileges of a user, and rather than giving them admin privileges to Google, give them partial admin privileges in the access control, only allow them to do certain things. So a perfect example of this is the email signatures. Someone who is going to manage email signatures may be a part of your marketing or design team. They have no business going into the control panel. They have no business deprovisioning users. Just give them that one tool that is email signatures, and you can achieve that here with the access control simply give them the marketing department signatures role. They will only have access to signatures. So that was the first question, I believe,
Yeah,
Vincent.
I think
And
you've kind of answered both there, and really it's how you set up your administrative access, and it's really important for people to think about that, particularly our customers with large organizations with 200 plus or 500 plus or 1,000 plus users. I think it's important to think about what administrators have to have access to and have to do, what are their roles within the business, and make sure you're not just going, oh, I'm just going to give everybody super admin access. Because the whole point of now the granular administrative access within Google Apps and now within Flashpanel, you have that ability, as Eli said, to just give access to the piece that the person needs access to. So hopefully we've answered that. I think in some cases we've had customers, and I see Eliza has mentioned this as well, putting executives into a different OU, and restricting things that way. So not giving the person access or the administrator access to that particular organizational unit. So we have a
exactly right.
question. Sorry.
Oh, that's exactly right. I'm showing here the screen of admin roles. This is a
Oh yeah.
section in the admin panel. So you can probably remove a couple of people here and then give them more access in Flashpanel. Might be a safer way to manage the administrative functions.
Cool. So we're down to some of our final questions here. Um, Ian Baxter again from InnoApps. When deprovisioning a user, does Flashpanel have an email archive option like archive to PST? So is that part of the workflow?
So we do have a reminder there that you can archive, but we do not provide archiving services. If you'd like to go to Cloud Alliance for Google Apps, or perhaps talk to Finton, he can probably recommend some archiving
No, I
services.
was I, I was
But we
I
do.
was going to recommend that as well. Like you've got products in there like Backupify and um, what else? Yeah, spanning backup.
Spanning is. Yeah.
That basically have tools to do a lot of those things for you. So if customers have questions about that, I'd come to ourselves, and we can recommend some of those tools that obviously again we're resellers for. So okay, I think we're down to. I'm just checking here if there's any more popped in the meantime. No, I think that's pretty much it.
Well,
Um,
if there's any further questions, maybe you can send up an email for all the attendees
yeah.
to reach out to me for just a very specific Flash panel question. Anything related to archiving and purchasing and things like that can be you. But I'm available for emails, and if you even want to set up an extended call, I'm happy to get on a hangout with anybody
Right.
on the call
Right.
and with Quentin as well. So we're
Well,
available.
I think we've done really well. I said it was going to be an hour, and it's now 2:58. So we've done well on time. I think this has been hugely beneficial to everybody. I'm getting lots of thank yous and things like that in the chat. Um,
Great.
and I think yeah we'll follow up afterwards with everybody. I'll send a follow up email. I'll let people know Eli's contact information, and obviously a lot of you guys have my own. I will also keep that sheet open. So if people want to submit questions in there, I'll set up a notification for myself so they'll be notified. So if you think of any questions in the next couple of minutes or days, feel free to still use that. And as Eli said, if there is anything that we need to set up a call or something like that, that can absolutely be arranged. Okay. Thanks everybody for joining. I love doing these kind of things where we engage with customers. We sort of rarely get to do it, but it's fantastic to be able to bring these kind of tools to you guys. Also, I just wanted to say if people have other tools for Google Apps that they're using or interesting ways that they're using it, I'd love to hear from you. I'm looking for customers who are interested in doing a webinar talking about how they're using Google Apps, maybe some exciting or interesting ways that you're using Google Apps, or particular tools like Flashpanel out there that you're using and that you find particularly valuable. One of the reasons, obviously, we decided to run this was was the launch of Flashpanel Enterprise, but also a lot of our customers are coming to us going, we're using this, and it's really valuable. So, we want to make sure that the rest of our customers know about that. We've 150 customers, and it's important that if some of our customers are getting benefit from a tool or from Google Apps, that we can help to distribute that knowledge. So, and I also just want to finish up with saying thanks to Eli, and the Better Cloud team for supporting us with this. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Our pleasure. Please let me know if you have any questions. We'd love to, continue the conversation.